Right, okay then, so we're here with the first of the Premier League prediction. What a time to start Premier League predictions, bang in the middle of the season, but here we are. We're here with Newcastle royalty, Adam Pearson. If you don't already know what you will do, where can people go to follow you as well?
So just be Adam Pearson on my YouTube channel, you type it in straight where it should come up, so appreciate it as always, and it's great to be on for today's Premier League predictions.
Yes. This is the very first of the Premier League predictions, so the way that we're going to do it is we're going to predict the score and the result as well. So it's 0 points if we get neither right, it's 1 point if we get the right result, and it's 3 points if we get the right scoreline and the result. We're inviting you guys as well to take part in this. Let us know in the comments exactly what your scores are. You have to get them in before the Saturday 11 a.m. So we want to try to make this a part of your regularly weekly pre-weekend Premier League setup. Okay, so here we go. So firstly, Adam, how competitive are you here? How competitive is this going to get?
Well, I think we'll get quite competitive, to be fair. I don't like losing much, so I definitely want to win in this case. And I think my honest predictions and I guess the knowledge when it comes to Newcastle is always pretty decent, so I'm hoping for the odd teams in the Premier League. Although I don't watch a lot of them on a weekly basis, I should hopefully get enough, right at least at 1 point anyway, so we'll see how things go.
Yeah. So I asked you off camera as well if you did fantasy football, just to kind of put it into context, that was all. So fantasy football wise, I'm doing really well at the minute. I'll put the stats up at the on screen. Top 80 in the whole of Newcastle, top 500 in England, and top 1500 in the whole of the world. So hopefully that's going to carry through to the Premier League predictions. I don't think so, though. I always get it wrong with the top six. You know, the Sky Sports top six, I can never seem to get that very well.
Well, I think it's always a bit dependent. Obviously, I think fantasy football is more individual players, not really based on how a team plays. So, I mean, we'll see if it translates well, but we don't know. We'll see how things go.
Perfect. We're here just to give a shout out as well. We're here with the Geordie Star, so it's based in the centre of Newcastle. We're taking some videos, we'll put them on screen at the minute. It seems to be very Newcastle United bar. It's absolutely perfect before and after the Newcastle matches. If you haven't been before, check them out. Loads of Sky TVs, loads of everything like that. Get involved. Very much a sports bar for the Newcastle fans as well. So we'll jump straight into it. So the very first match, going in alphabetical order here, is Arsenal, top of the league, against Wolves. So firstly, are you surprised that Arsenal are top of the league? Anyone other than Man City's top of the league at the minute?
Well, yeah, Man City have dropped a few City points here and there. Even when I watch them in the Champions League, obviously Leipzig go 2-0 against them. You watch the goals conceded. I think Gordon made a good point actually, because he was saying that Man City wouldn't have conceded those goals last season. I don't think they would have. It's just, I mean, I can't exactly say they're bad because they're still second with literally like a point or so off to Arsenal. So I still think they've got more than what it takes to win the league. But they have seemed to dip a tiny bit since last season, I would say. So I think with the title race on, I still expect City to catch Arsenal. They did it last season. That was, I mean, the best Arsenal team you've seen in decades, and they're still caught up. So,
well, they've been missing De Bruyne as well for most of the season.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, obviously, like De Bruyne, Rodri, I mean, he's a key player. So, when you're going to lose midfielders like that, you're always going to have some trouble. But one step back, they'd be all right. There's no way to not win the league. I'll be shocked if Arsenal wins it. I can't see it happening.
Yeah. So on the other side of it, you've got Wolves as well. So Wolves fans will be very complaining of all of the VAR decision, referee calls and stuff. We had a bad one against them as well. Have they been unlucky? Are they in a false position, or do you see them trying to go for relegation safety?
Well, with Wolves, you can't expect anything other than trying to stay up. I know they had a European run when they first came up with a real good squad back then. Things changed, times changed, they haven't invested well. To be honest, I think most people would have backed Wolves to go down at the start of the season when they lost the manager on match week 1. That's never really a good sign. But luckily for them, you got a team for the newly promoted squads who are struggling, and an Everton team that's been deducted. Wolves, on top of that, haven't actually been that bad. I think they've been quite good. Against us, definitely got unlucky. No way in hell did Newcastle should have got a pen for that first goal. No chance. I can't understand them feeling a bit harsh in the Premier League for being against them, but listen, it happens to all the teams. I don't really think it's a Wolves thing, to be honest. It's just, I think it's just a case where it's just been bad VAR calls against all the teams. The Wolves had a few more than our teams, I guess, but against Arsenal, I think it's clear cut, chalk and cheese. I don't see them getting anything down at the Emirates. So I guess scoreline wise, I'll back Arsenal win 4-0 against Wolves.
4-0, yeah, they've just scored 6 during the week. I've got them down for 3-1. I think the goal scoring that they're in, they're a banging form. I think Wolves will really struggle, but I can see them. That Hwang seems to be quite dangerous for them. He seems to be in a little purple patch this season, so I've gone for 3-1 for that as well. So The next one, Brentford versus Luton. So Luton probably buoyed a little bit by the Everton 10-point deduction. That's probably given them a little glimpse of survival.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Luton this season out with the 3 newly promoted teams, probably the one that seems to be the most likely to come out of the bottom 3, wouldn't think you, if you said that.
Is that surprising you? Because obviously at the start of the season it was all about Burnley. Burnley's going to be top 10 potential, stuff like this.
Well, to be honest, I think a lot of people probably did overestimate Burnley. I think they've probably seen the way they played in the Championship and well, you know what, they're going to do it in the Premier League. But statistically, if you have a look at any other newly promoted team, they're going to be playing attacking, expansive football. I think Norwich City's probably the most likely example of a team that's done that, came up and got pumped and finished 20th straight away. So in the Premier League it doesn't translate well because the team's simply not good enough. Not to mention that in the final third they're quite lacklustre. They don't really take the chances. So I have been surprised. I still would have probably backed Burnley to be around the 15-16 mark. But the fact that Luton Town's probably the most likely out of the 3 to stay up surprised me the most, because I probably would have backed them to be last. But I watched Luton Town. They're not a good team, don't get me wrong, but they do seem to be able to get a grindy result out. They do seem to be able to get those results. So obviously got a big win last week once Everton had the deduction. Seemed to have to give them a bit of a kick. And now the pressure's completely on Everton because Luton are actually giving them a fight. You know what, against Brentford, I'll back Luton to get a result down here. Brentford hasn't really impressed me this season. They're clearly struggling without Tony. I know he's going to come back shortly, but they've been bad without him.
Are you expecting Tony to come in and hit the ground running, because it's a substantial amount of time that he's been out for? Will it take him a little while to kind of get up to scratch?
I think it'll be a big boost for Brentford in the team's sense. Maybe take a game or two, but I think Tony's that good, he'll just kick in straight away. I think he'd be ready to go. I think he'd be all forward. So against Luton, I don't think Brentford will win. I actually don't think they will. So I'm going to back a 1-1 draw in that game.
1-1, right, okay. I'm going to go for Brentford. I've been very impressed with them this season. The fact that Tony has had his lengthy ban, I thought they would really struggle. I think they've been fantastic. That Mbembo, Wissa, a few good players that they've got as well. I've went for a 2-0 win, Brentford. I think that Luton will still go down this season, though. I still put them in my top 3. I think that Everton ban might get overturned a little bit, or less points. So we'll touch on them when we touch on Everton. So the next one, it's the battle of the bottom. It's Burnley versus Sheffield as well. So is this 2 teams that are destined to go down this season, you reckon?
Yeah, I think both will go down. I mean, Sheffield United is awful. Like, they are terrible. Burnley's slightly better, but even then, they're still pretty bad. This game just sums up a relegation scrap, and has to be one either team. And in typical fashion, when it's 2 teams in that sort of position, you're always going to back a draw. So I'm going to say 0-0 straight away in that game.
0-0, right. I've went for 1-0 Burnley. I went for the home advantage a little bit here. I think Burnley probably do impress us a little bit more than Sheffield United this season. They have been a bit unlucky. I think the way that they played in the Championship, that might get them over the line. I think they'll get 1-0 up, and I think I can see them holding on to that. So I went 1-0 Burnley. So, next one, Forest against Everton as well. So just touching on Everton, we obviously mentioned the ban already. Do you see this as a boost for the players on the pitch? Do you think they'll get a little bit of resurgence for this, or do you think they'll be downtrodden a little bit with the ban?
I think it's probably rattled them a little bit, because before the ban, Everton were actually really good. They had some really good results already this season, and they're a team that you watched last season, you think, oh, well, these cons fly every season, and then we watched them straight away, they'd be like, no, it's actually a pretty good side. Once the bans came in place, it's put a lot of pressure on, because that's already a 10-point deduction. On top of that, who knows? Do
you see it staying 10 points? Because obviously there's an appeal and everything. Do you think that will stick, the whole 10 points?
Yeah, I think they will, because if you put an appeal in and then it's successful, then obviously someone's effed up essentially to get that ban in the first place. So in the Premier League point of view, it will look extremely bad, and then if they were to reverse the decision. So no, I don't think it will get reversed. I'm not aware of any other potential bans. I'm sure there's still some financial issues, because legally wise, any team that's went down because of the fact Everton's finished 17th twice in the last 2 seasons. So the teams that finished 80th are legally allowed to claim compensation, claim money, whatever it may be. So I still think Everton are in big trouble. I don't know enough about the legal side of things and what's actually happened for me to make a proper comment here, but it doesn't look great for them. I think it will probably keep going worse. And in a league sense, they've got to start winning games now, because they already got a 10-point deduction. It's mental to think that they're still only 4 or 5 points from getting out of the bottom 3. It just shows how bad the teams actually are in this league. But You need to pick up results fast, and at the minute I feel like they probably are a bit rattled. I don't think they'll win a game for at least another couple.
Just off topic a little bit, because I was speaking to some of the Chelsea fans before their match. Obviously, they've got a ban looming. Man City have got a massive ban looming potentially. Do you think now the president's been set on this is a 10-point ban for Everton, that it'll be really bad news for Man City and Chelsea? I mean, they're talking about relegation, they're talking about dual relegation, they're talking about all sorts. Do you think there's too much money and the lawyers are going to see that out, or how do you see that happening?
It's a tricky one, isn't it? I do believe in the sense that I think money can buy anything. I think when teams are like Man City or like Chelsea, when you got billions of pounds to the side, and even Newcastle to an extent on our sides as well, I think if you do make a massive mistake, you can always essentially buy your way out of it. I do fully believe in that. I think in the Premier League, of course, when you've got teams like Man City and Chelsea, you kind of can't really screw them over, because if you do anything that's going to be negative towards them, it can affect your brand as a whole. So as harsh as it is in Everton, I think teams above them can get away with it. So if you've got to be fair, then yeah.
Is it that top six power then? Because that's what a lot of the Chelsea fans alluded to. They said they weren't really too worried about it because they are a top six club and they've got that power. It's kind of almost for other fans, they just think, oh, the top six power doesn't necessarily exist. Maybe some fans think it do. The top six clubs, they think they're invincible almost.
I think I agree. You know, I think obviously at Newcastle that top six as well. Now they got that massive backing, but yeah, it stinks with it. I think, you know, it's someone I honestly feel like if I wasn't that fan of relegation battle now, I would definitely look at those teams and go, well, actually, how are you doing that? And when we're doing that, we get banned. So my belief is that I think all teams should be penalised for something, or nobody is. So the fact that you've been penalised Everton and you haven't penalised on our side, then I think it is something fishy there, I have to say. So
it's baffling how they've got one charge Everton, it's done, and yet Man City's got 150. You would have thought they would have picked some of them and said, look, it's the same charge, so we'll just get the 10 points here, 10 points there, or whatever, instead of dealing with it all. Who knows? Though, we're off topic. So Nottingham Forest versus Everton anyway. What do you see that happening in that game?
I like Forest a lot. I actually do like them. I think at home they're a real good side, so I'm going to back them to win 2-0 over Everton. I think the fact that ban still came in recently, I think will have quite a sour taste for them. Everton fans, I probably think, even looking this week, despite the fact it's a harder fixture, I'll probably back them to fancy playing Newcastle more due to the fact of how bad our away form is. And I think Everton at home just are quite a hostile side, and they like dealing with the crowd well. So I probably back them more against us than I would against Forest, you know. So I'll go 2-0 Nottingham Forest. I think I will back the home side in this case. I like Forest as a team, and so that sort of fixture where I don't think there's much in it, but ultimately I think the home team will win.
Yeah, I'd agree that there's not much in it. I see it going 1-1. I would kind of put it, if I had to put my hat down, I think the Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I think he's the big player for them. I think as long as he's staying fit, they've got a chance. I think they're coming into the game with a lot of good form as well. They've got a lot of good results right before the ban. That's what's kind of seen them with a chance, even with the 10-point deduction. So I can see that going 1-1. I'd probably say more towards Everton if I had to inch it, but I'll go for 1-1 and I'll say that. So then you've got the Newcastle-Manchester match. So you've obviously just been to Paris as well, so you've just seen Newcastle play. What did you think of that, and then what do you think for this game as well?
I thought Newcastle were great against PSG. Really dealt with the crowd and just everything well. They dealt with the Champions League away match well, and it was a game where we should have won, and we didn't because of a complete BS pen. That was just never a pen, and you look back like you and you think, well, what the hell? But honestly, you look at performance-wise for Newcastle, I thought it was an unbelievable performance. Dealt with one of the best players in the world, Mbappe, brilliantly. Lascelles played him off the park, really dealt with him well. And
he's been incredible, Lascelles. A lot of fans wrote him off at the start of the season, thinking, oh, he'll not play another game for Newcastle. He's every single week he's top performing.
He wouldn't. Newcastle have a lot of injuries, but one I'm not concerned by is Botman. I watched the team play, and okay, we've got a little goal here and there. Well, maybe Botman could have done better with, but all the goals are conceded. I don't think Botman would have done that much difference. So the fact that Newcastle have done so well, Lascelles looks a complete shadow of Parker in his former self. I can't believe how good he's been. Even the likes of Dummett and Kraft and playing in cup games has looked great as well for Newcastle. Just got a bit of fire in them, and despite the suspensions, despite how many injuries we have, Newcastle's still a good season. We've still got a great spot in the Premier League. We've still got a good chance of going through the Champions League and not into the Europa League. And domestically as well. You're in the Carabao Cup quarter-final, so...
Just speaking on Lascelles as well, because I mean, personally for me, I would have thought before this resurgence almost of Lascelles that should have been our number one transfer target in January, central defender. I think it possibly still is, depending on the nature of what Botman's sort of injury is. But has the Lascelles resurgence means that maybe another position is our number one transfer target in January? Can you see that?
I think so, yeah. If I look at the predictions, obviously centre half is a big one for your squad depth. But I think we've got bigger issues. I think striker's a big one. Yep. Isak Wilson at one point were both out, so you've got no striker.
What did you think of Anthony Gordon during that time? Because Eddie Howe's obviously mentioned that Joelinton and Anthony Gordon can play up there. He's obviously not had to resort to it too much because of that, but obviously if they both are injured, how confident are you that Anthony Gordon and Joelinton can get goals in that position?
I don't think it works, I've seen it against Bournemouth, created nothing. Joelinton, just obviously he's the better Joelinton now, but even then I still think his finishing's not great. His heading's terrible. Like he's missed some awful headers this season. He's someone that needs to play midfield. I think putting him back up top is where all the issues were in the first place, so I wouldn't do that. Gordon doesn't really seem to work up top either, so no, man, to that question straight away, I don't think either of them would work.
I think Gordon, when he's played up top, most of his goals have come from little tap-ins rather than kind of like great striker or anything like that, so yeah, I'd agree.
His end product's much better this season, but even then I still probably don't really say it's a striker end product. Still probably think it's a labour off that. But no, I think that's a big problem. Centre mid's a big one as well with Tonali's suspension, so you got to look at getting someone in there, and then maybe like the centre halves after that. But I think striker's a big focus because you've seen it this season already how both of them can go at some point, and so we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, still a lot of issues there.
And then if we look at the other side of the coin, you've got Manchester United. So they've just come off a 3-3 result midweek. Their goalkeeper, who's come under a load of fire this season, arguably was at fault for all three of them goals. Is this the perfect time to play them as a striker? You kind of think that they're leaking goals. The defence are presumably going to be very worried about having that keeper behind them not performing. Is this a good time to play Man U as well?
Well, I think the first question you got to ask yourselves from the cup game just about a month ago now, have Manchester United changed since that cup game? No, I think they'll be more or less the exact same. They're just... in the league, you look at it, because they're above Newcastle and they've won quite a decent amount of games this season, but the games are winning. None of them are convincing. They're beating teams like Sheffield 1-0, 2-1s. You watch the goals to score as well. Sunday you could argue about lucky. Like the way Man U play, they're rubbish. Like they actually are rubbish. I don't know how they won so many games, to be honest, but now
they were in crisis just a couple of weeks ago. It was on Sky Sports. Obviously you've got Sancho, who's been allowed to have an argument with the manager and not make up. You've got loads of their signings which have not really come off. You've got Anthony, who was nearly 80 million. He looks an absolute pony player. It seems like it's just a couple of results still away from being a crisis.
No, but I've got a lot of water on the bridge when it comes to both behind the scenes. You've got so many issues there. The way the player, I guess, Ten Hag as a whole, it doesn't really seem like a team bond there. You see Eddie Howe in the ways with his players, tell all the players love being there, they love being involved with the team. I think Man U's just such a polar opposite to them. I think a lot of players just on too arse or they're underperforming. Some of them don't like Ten Hag. It's just.
Do you put that down to Ten Hag? Because it seems like it's almost a toxic club behind the scenes, and he's just walked into it. He's obviously tried to put his foot down, especially with Sancho and stuff like that. Is he the right man to kind of dig them out? I could imagine January being a big transfer overhaul for them.
Well, I think it's a mixture of both, because if you sack a manager and bring someone else in, I still think the problems are there. The players have to accept some responsibility, because they're all better than what they are doing.
You could see that last season. He did fantastic with them last season.
Oh, exactly.
Same players.
Exactly. So players like Rashford underperform. You got to look at the players and the manager side of things. I think it's a mixture of both. So I think if you were to, put all the blame on one of the two, I don't really think it's fair. But now they're rubbish, man. They're so bad. And even with a Newcastle injured squad, I still back us to beat them. I don't rate them at all.
So what score are you going for here then?
I'm going to back us to win 3-0 again.
3-0? Very comfortable win against Man U, yeah?
Well, maybe not as comfortable as the scoreline suggests, but I think we'll win 3-0.
Who are you going for goal scorers for that?
Probably back Isak. He's been red hot form since he came back, so I'll probably get Isak on 1. And then like Joelinton, put it in midfielders, hopefully get involved. Gordon maybe. I think Gordon's been scored a decent amount this season.
Yeah, I went for 2-1. I think Gordon and Isak for that. I can just see Man U, the way they always do, get a penalty. Bruno Fernandes, it just seems they're very like that. They always surround the the referee, so I can see them getting their traditional goal for that one. Then we've got Bournemouth against High Flying Villa. Now, I was gobsmacked. I was having a look through the league and making notes. I didn't realise Villa were 4th in the league. I didn't realise they'd been that good. They're obviously banging in goals. They're getting goals from midfield. They're getting goals from Watkins. They're getting goals from even Bailey, who's coming onto the pitch. He's doing well. Douglas Luiz, how do you see this one going as well against the easy sort of Bournemouth, you would say, probably?
Well, Villa's been unbelievable. They've got probably the best home record in the league, I think. I looked at the start. I think I swear we're not like 15, 20 home games in a row. Like, that's they've done really well so far. I remember they all playing European football. It's not like they just got one competition to worry about. They've got both as well. But it's something like Newcastle, just not as obviously high standard. But the way Villa play, they're a good side. They're a really good side. I like a lot of the players they have, and Emery has done an amazing job. He was the guy I wanted in before Eddie Howe came in. So
linked, wasn't he?
He's done incredible throughout his career. Yeah, I've been impressed with them so far, and I expect their form to continue. But Bournemouth have obviously got a big result against Newcastle. They're starting to pick some points here and there. I don't really rate them much. I think they've got Newcastle at the perfect time for them.
Yeah. Solanke seems all right though. He seems like they've got a little player there. Obviously ex-Liverpool player. He seems like he's finding whatever it takes to make him a top player now, banging them in, especially for Bournemouth.
Yeah, he's not that bad, is he? I think a lot of people would have laughed at it, like the Joe Linton say, I'm going to see 40 million for a guy you think, oh, why would you pay that? But now he's not that bad, is he? He's alright. But against Villa, I think Villa are too much for them. Maybe there might be an edge of draw with a lucky ball, but probably back with 2-1 Villa on this one.
2-1, I went 3-0 Villa. I think they're free scoring at the minute. The next two games that they've got after this is Man City and Arsenal, so I think they'll see this one as the last 3 points before possibly 2 Drummond. So I think comfortable win here, and I think they'll struggle for the next 2 games. I'll be taking a lot of the Aston Villa players out of my fantasy football next week, going into them 2 matches. Then we've got Chelsea versus Brighton. Now, this is possibly, if you just go off Premier League, this is probably 2 underperforming teams this season. Obviously, Brighton's probably always going to struggle because they haven't got necessarily the squad for the Europa League. Chelsea, possibly a coupon buster. You can't tell which Chelsea's going to turn up week to week. So how do you see this one going as well? They're 8th and 10th in the league, respectively.
Well, I think Chelsea have been better recent weeks. They had quite a good little string of games before they played Newcastle. That's actually been pretty good. I would have said going to the Newcastle game, and I'm all of a sudden out of nowhere they got smashed. But to be fair, I thought we played quite well on the day. I thought it was a real good Newcastle performance. So I wouldn't necessarily say that's a sign of things to come. Brighton have been bad over the last month or so. I think a bit similar to Newcastle on our side as well. European football had a lot of injuries, had a lot of issues in the squad. They haven't coped with it well at all. I think they've clearly struggled with it. It's the first time we've ever been in a position like that, and you can kind of tell. It's not been good for them at all. I think especially at the start of the season with a smashing team like us, probably thinking, well, you know what, Brighton will do well again this season. They haven't done it at all. It's been a pretty bad season for them.
They've had Ferguson as well, injured a couple of times. He seems like it's a regular sort of injuries. He's obviously only 18. You probably wouldn't expect that many injuries for someone, but if he was a fit person all the time, you'd expect he's going to get a move to a top 1, 2, 3, 4 club. He seems fantastic, but that injuries cost him Brighton.
Yeah, it's just a problem with European football. You've got to be able to handle it, and unfortunately with them, they haven't been able to do so far. So if I had to back anything in this case, we were back Chelsea. Yeah. I've been impressed with Chelsea. I'm looking forward to the Carabao Cup here. It'll be a massive test to see where both teams are. Going into this one, I've backed Chelsea, put 2-0 over Brighton, I would say.
Right, okay, so we've got different here then. So this is perfect rather than having the same obvious ones or whatever. So I've went Brighton to nick this a little bit here. I think both defences are very weak. I think Chelsea all this season have conceded loads of goals. I think at the start of the season, fantasy football wise, I had the left back for Brighton in, I had a few Chelsea players in. I've had to take them out straight away because neither one of them seem like they're capable of keeping a clean sheet this season. So I think there's definitely going to be goals in this one. I would say about 2-2, 3-3, but I'm going to edge it. My actual prediction is 3-2 to Brighton. I think they might upset Chelsea because, like I say, I don't know what Chelsea are going to turn up. They've obviously got Palmer, who's impressed the life out of me this season. I know he's gotten a lot of penalties, but he seems a fantastic player. I thought they'd overpaid when they're getting him, but he's hit the ground running for Chelsea. Liverpool, Fulham. So is this a case of this is just going to be an easy one, you'd imagine? I mean, they've just hammered another team last night in Europe. They're going in with a load of form. All the strikers are scoring. How do you see this one?
Yeah, Liverpool will be pretty good this season, haven't they? I've been impressed with them. Obviously, I think they've dealt with the new signs well. I think pretty much all the new signs have been good. Obviously, Sabosca is really good, like him. Obviously, like Diaz as well. I just unbelievable players, and he gets more of a game time. Obviously, Gakpo, I like him a lot as well. I think Liverpool's front three is good, not as iconic as your front three they used to have, but it's still a pretty good one. And gets up for them to say. I think it's just routine for them when they play at Anfield. I don't really expect them to ever drop points to any of the bottom half teams at Anfield. Against Fulham, not a bad team for them. I think they're pretty decent, but I wouldn't expect anything less than Liverpool win. Even in this case, pretty safe. 3-0, 4-0. We'd go 3-0 Liverpool.
3-0. I've got 4-0 down here, so I'll stick with that one then. So I'll go 4-0. I think the only chance that Fulham have got is the fact that Alisson isn't fit. I think that might be a major hit, but I think the Liverpool defence is strong enough, and I think even if they do concede the 1 or 2, I think Liverpool will just go away the other end. So I think they'll absolutely whitewash, and I think this is the easiest one of the lot to pick here. 4-0, 3-0. So next up, West Ham versus Palace. Now again, I was kind of shocked when I was looking at the league table. I didn't realise West Ham were 9th. I kind of thought they just had a little stuttery sort of season. They've obviously gone under the radar a little bit. How do you see them as well? Crystal Palace as well, on the other hand, not conceding. Their defence is absolute watertight this season as well. So a battle of kind of two informy teams.
Well, I do like both of them actually. I think Roy Hodgson, despite the fact he's in his late 70s, is still a really good manager. He's came back and actually more or less saved Palace again. He's just that guy who doesn't seem to want to retire. I think he's just that age now. He kind of wants to do something.
Was that the right move? Because what did you think of Vieira as well? Because it seemed like they had a progressive new young manager, and then they've kind of took the foot off, took all the risk away, and went back to tried and tested. And right, okay, we'll try to stay in the division rather than move up with a bit of ambition. Or is Roy the right man, do you think?
I didn't think Vieira as well, to be honest. And I know obviously it's easy to say when Hodgson came back and just kept them up, but ultimately, as much as I don't think it's a good long-term strategy to do, I think it has worked short-term. I think Palace, all they want to do is to stay up. Obviously, lost like Zaha, lost some of the big players as well. Just maintain your position.
They've kept a couple of their star players this season have signed new contracts, so I don't know if that's Roy Hodgson or what, but it seems like there is enough there to keep the top players thinking there is a future at Palace.
I think Hodgson's just a good manager. I think he's really saved his career after the England job. I think he came to Palace and just, I think I probably turned everyone's opinion on him. I think he is a good manager, and he's been able to do quite a lot at an age where I think most people would probably just sit at home and not want to do anything. Fair play to him. Against West Ham away, it's just a game again. Obviously, a big match for both teams. Just a draw, seeing it. A lot of matches where both teams are kind of up for it, but ultimately it'll clash two heads, I think.
So what score exactly are you going for? Are you going to score draw or?
Yeah, 1-1 I think.
1-1. I think this is the difficulty about doing this right before we find out all of the team news, because I know Owen has got an injury out and he's a star man for West Ham. I think that's going to factor in the result. So I'm going to guess that maybe he's not fit enough for the 90 minutes. I think if he does play the 90 minutes, I would probably edge West Ham for this one, because he seems like he's banging form for them this season. I'll go for 0-0. I think both the defences will see each other out. I think if I was going to say anything, I think West Ham are probably the more likely to edge it, but I'll go 0-0 as well. So then we've got the last one, the big one. Man City against Spurs. So Man City have lost the top spot. Do you see this being a rejuvenated Man City trying to battle their way to the top, can't afford to drop any points, or do you think Spurs is going to come into this game with a lot of confidence? They're obviously missing a lot of players, Spurs. They missed Maddison. Maddison's a big injury. Richarlison's out for them. They've got a lot of defenders with suspensions and injuries as well. Is this the best time of the season to play Spurs?
Well, yeah, I think so. It is a make or break game for Tottenham. I feel like had such a good start this season. All of a sudden, was it 2-3 losses in a row or something? Dropped stupid points to Wolves, and all of a sudden they lost another game. And you think, well, what the hell are they doing? In a Tottenham point of view, they just slipped apart. They completely just threw it away.
Did you put that down to the injuries somewhat, or is it the way that they play? Because they always play with the high line. Even when they were down to, 10-9 men, they were still playing with a high line. Almost football suicide a little bit.
That's pretty stupid. I mean, fair enough. From the bottle will do that, but in a 9-man situation, you just wouldn't do that, would you? So I would have to say that's pretty bad management. But yeah, obviously you've lost the 3 games. You lost the Chelsea, Wolves, and then you lost to Villa last week. They've not been playing well. I didn't like the way they played against Villa. I thought even though they had a decent amount of chance, both Villa probably deserved to win. And you look at the way they're playing, and the team that wants to potentially win the league, it ain't good enough. So against City, I think Tottenham got to win it. You know, I think if they draw, lose the game, it's probably not enough for them. I think they actually do legit want to go for the title. You've got to beat a team like Man City, and if they can't do that, it's not going to happen. Tottenham historically do tend to do quite well against City, so it won't be an easy game. And Man City, you've already seen this season as a team that is likely to concede some goals they probably wouldn't normally concede, or maybe not playing at the best they could do. So it'll be an interesting one. Back City to win it, I think, maybe a 1-0 or 2-1, but I think for Tottenham, if you don't win the game already, it's probably going to be game over for them. So back a 2-1 City, but I don't think it'll be an easy game for ever say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that we've got a lot of different scores. I thought going into this we might have a lot of the same sort of scores. I've went 2-0 Man City. I think it will be quite comfortable purely because of the injuries and stuff like that. I think Spurs will struggle to hold on, and I think Man City are almost certain to score in this game. The only real question, I'll 2-0 for this one just to check as well, but would you start Doku or Grealish for this? Because Doku is fantastic, but obviously the price tag on Grealish, they've got the options where they can rotate. Who would you start for this one against Spurs?
That's a trick one, actually. I think the way Tottenham's line is, you probably want to start Doku, get some quick players in behind, I would have said. I think with how high Tottenham's line is, Doku would probably be the better fit out of the two for a fixture like that, so yeah, I'll probably back him.
Yeah, been impressed with him, Doku, this season?
Well, from what I've seen of him, yeah, I haven't watched him.
Fantastic, isn't he?
Unbelievable amount of him, but yeah, he looks a good side to be fair to City.
Yeah, okay. So that rules out all of the Premier League ones. So I thought because we're North East updates, we'll just quickly touch and do a quick score prediction on the Middlesbrough and Sunderland one. So they're doing okay, the pair of them this season. They're kind of hovering around, but neither one of them. Middlesbrough had a terrible start. Sunderland's kind of edging. Maybe they'll get top 6, both of them. Middlesbrough play Leeds.
Ooh.
Now Leeds are high flying this season. Obviously, they probably one of the strongest teams on paper as well. How do you see that one?
Well, I haven't watched enough of Leeds to be fair. I don't really tend to look in the Championship too much. I know Sunderland have dropped a stupid amount of points already.
Last week as well.
They dropped like loads of City points. Middlesbrough, I don't know enough about Middlesbrough to be fair. Obviously, I know they're playing Port Vale and the Carabao Cup. You probably expect them to go through into the semis, but as to the Championship, you probably would have backed either of them to be in the top 6 now. So the fact that neither of them are suggests that they probably wouldn't perform this season. Against Leeds, though, it's probably one of the harder fixtures they're going to have this season, and I'll back Leeds to beat them for the maybe 1-0 Leeds, I would have said.
1-0, I've went 3-1. I think Leeds very dangerous, scoring goals and stuff. Middlesbrough, I like them. I always like to see Middlesbrough and Sunderland do well, but I think Leeds are just too much. I'd fancy Leeds against almost anyone in that league. And then Sunderland got a tricky match away at Millwall, which is one of the obviously tougher places to go in the Championship. What do you reckon for that one?
Yeah, I don't think they'll beat Millwall. They've been bad this season, so I think you compare it with last year. They're conceding stupid goals. I think you look at prediction-wise, it's just... I mean, mid-tier was still alright, considering it was a League One team 2 seasons ago, but we compared to last season, they're clearly missing Diallo. I think not getting him back was a mistake, and if they could have got him back, then they really should have done.
Considering he's not playing much for Man U as well, it's surprising.
I don't know why Man U really kept him and didn't loan him out.
They've got Garnacho, they've got other players that's well ahead of them.
Just makes sense with it. I think the fact that they didn't get promoted is probably the main issue with that. I think if they were to go through the playoffs last season, they would have been there now in the Premier League. But the fact that it didn't happen, I think that was probably the killer for his future potentially at Sunderland. So against Millwall, 1-1 Millwall, 2-1 Millwall. I'll probably back a draw and be fair, but again, I don't see Sunderland winning the game.
Yeah, I'll go for 1-0 Sunderland. I probably would say Millwall, but I'm kind of hoping I like to see the North East teams do well. So I'll go for a sneaky 1-0 for Sunderland. Do you think either one of them will get promoted this season? I know it's very early in the league. No,
I don't think either will. I don't think Sunderland have a chance, to be honest. I think they've dropped too many points already. I don't think it's sustainable when you play like that, when you constantly win, lose. You've got to be able to get that down straight away. Middlesbrough probably got the more likely chance maybe, but even then I still don't think they're good enough to go up.
Yeah, unfortunately I agree with you. I think when we talked about Everton get docked 10 points and that's the weakest Premier League bottom that we've seen in years, I think on the opposite side of that, this is probably one of the strongest championships that you've seen because of the teams that went down. You got Leeds, Southampton, the absolute giants in the championship now. I think this is probably the hardest season in the championship for a long time. So unfortunately, I don't think so. But January transfer window, see what happens. We'll go from there. Thank you guys for watching as well. We're going to try to do this every week as well. Have this as part of your Premier League weekend prediction as well. Join in, let us know your thoughts in the comments as well. We'll score you guys along. Anyone who does beat us as well, we'll give a shout in next week's video as well. Thank you very much, Adam. We'll try to get you in next week as well, before the next week as well, when Newcastle play Everton as well. Tricky sort of game as well. Right, okay, thank you very much, and we'll see you next week then.